Hey everybody, I'm just going to do a quick video. And what is this video about? Well, I'm planning to release the second novel in my selfhood trilogy. It's titled Sounds with Song, and that's going to be released on Amazon in the next week or so. I don't have a specific date, but I spent the last couple of weeks proofing the manuscript just because I finished it in 2007, and I like to go through and clean up older works. So like as I've said, I've not released anything written after 2010, but I'm releasing a lot of my early mature works. And this novel, Sounds with Song, was actually my longest novel I've ever written thus far. It finishes just under 135,000 words. I probably cut a few, so it's like 133-ish, just under 134 kind of thing. So it's about, close to a 400-page novel. And so that takes some, going through, cleaning it up. And I want to make sure I know what I'm releasing, right? So this book, I released, Volume 1 is Some of a Life, and Volume 3 is Marvelous. This is Sounds with Song. This is Volume 2. This is the richest and the most complex of the three works. And if you've not purchased any, I recommend this book. If you're just going to get one, this would be the one to get. I'm going to read for you right now my author intro, because I wrote this yesterday. And then I just will make some other comments, and I'm going to do another video once I release the book. I'm not going to have a link yet, but I'm just letting you know. So I'm just letting you know this is my intro. Sounds with Song is the second novel within my selfhood trilogy, and it is the longest and the most complex of the three. Written and completed in 2007, in it one can visualize a child's eye, or at least a memory of one, and that is how the novel begins. What can you call me? I'm a memory, or at least that would be the easiest explanation. Of course, this is not a child's reflection as much as it is an adult imbuing within those reflections. Like with all my work, literary agents had a hard time grasping this concept. They didn't believe that someone so young could make such observations, despite my explaining the opening. They also wanted more melodrama, especially in the second half, and they seemed disappointed that my character did not become a drug addict, an outlaw, or go psychopathic. This would have been the expected outcome, at least according to their standards, for being introduced to trauma so young. Had I gone that direction, I would have lost interest in the narrative. Instead, the character retreats into her observation and imagination, which is where my selfhood resides. While this is a work of fiction, it is still based on much of my own memory. Despite events having been compressed for drama's sake, much attention is given to language and presentation, wherein the wording matters as much as the motive. This is the tale of a young human, but is also about a living mind, not merely observing, but how one observes, where one sees beyond the eye. The detail lives within the diction. I've been around a while. January 2020, me. So that's my intro. And, this book, like all my works I mentioned, was rejected for so many reasons, and I'm going to do a separate video on that. I'm going to talk a lot more about that in another video. I just wanted to get this out there, that this is forthcoming. And everything, it's just nothing I seem to do suits these people. It's always something, and they always want the predictable thing. They always want the cliche. And I had at one point an agent recommend a very trite novel to me to read, which was everything I wanted to avoid when writing this. I remember when I wrote this, I said, I don't want it to be like this book. And then she recommended the book I didn't want it to be like. So they're very there's a hive mindset. They're very cookie cutter in their thinking. And I I don't respect them at all. So, yeah, I could say more, and I'm going to say more, but the book is, you know, if you could fucking just let go of all your expectations and your political agendas and your social and PC bullshit, you might actually learn something. You might actually enjoy reading from the perspective of someone. And there's a nuance to the observation. I said, all my work is very language driven, but this is one of my first early major works, you know, along with Quick with Flies. And it's very you know, it's very thick. There's a lot to it, and I'll have more in time, but I just wanted to get that out there. Also, when I remember having submitted, it was, like I said, a lot of disappointment. I knew that, you know, so many people are willing to sort of alter themselves for the sake of a sale, and I wasn't willing to do that. Hey, chalk it up to the Enneagram. I'm a 4-wing 5, right? I'm not going to do that. And I just, you know, also too, it was a lot to battle against, because I'm sending this book and it is actually about a female experience, which a lot of times can get a bad rep or not taken seriously, because there's so many poorly constructed books like that deal with such subject matter. But it's all in the how you deal with it. It's all in the language. And I do mine differently. I do mine as to how I see it. And I knew very young that people didn't see what I saw. And so that is the novel, Sounds with Song. It's my Selfhood Volume 2. I'm releasing this. I'm gonna eventually I want to put the 3 books into a complete collection, but don't let that stop you from purchase, because the complete collection will end up, the way Amazon charges you, when you have a book that's thicker, it actually costs more. So, you know, I would just recommend, don't wait around, and, you know, if you've not purchased any of the others, I would recommend this book. I also will plan to release the other 2 novels in the American Earth trilogy. I haven't released those. And why is that? Because they were written in 2004 and 2005. As I've said, the older the books are, when I was writing very early, I found it took a lot more effort to proofread and edit, just simply because they were early works and older. As I matured, it doesn't take as much. So hence why I just release according to what I'm able to. And then eventually I'm going to release another story collection this year. My goal is in the short term to release like 3 works a year. I have a lot of backlog. So, and in addition, I am also writing gotta start writing another work. And if all I did was pay attention to the old work, I'd have no time to work on the new work. So anyway, that's that. So I will have another video about Sounds with Song. I hope you'll keep it in mind. And if you really and truly, if you want to read it, I recommend please review it. It's great. I get people messaging me, telling me positive feedback, but if you don't put it publicly, it doesn't help. The only way it's going to help is if other people can see it on Amazon or, Goodreads, but I prefer Amazon, but whatever. So that's about it. I'm still drinking right now, is to finish the day. It's a nice Saturday, but I'm drinking this leftover Prosecco. I really like Prosecco because it has lower alcohol content, but it's bubbly. So it's like, oh, I can just, it's very refreshing, and I put ice in it. I know, it's kind of weird, but nice day for that. So I thank you for listening. I hope you will take a look at the book. I'll put a link once it's up. It's not going to be up at the moment. I'm still gathering and all that sort of thing, but should be available within next week or so. And that'll be it. So I thank you all for listening, and I will be in touch.